And welcome back. It's time for this week's Capital Report with Pat McGuigan of CapitalBeatOK.com. Pat, some big news out of Detroit this week that the city is now eligible to declare bankruptcy. What's been the local and state reaction to this?
Yeah, a little bit of background. They started in the summer seeking to enter bankruptcy, and it took several rounds of legal hearings until a judge there ruled this week, Tuesday, that they can enter bankruptcy, and politically the most significant piece of that was probably that pension holders, that the level of pension payout to retired government employees can be included in the bankruptcy. Now the projections are that they will be comparatively treated better, if you will, than other creditors, but still they're looking at reductions in existing payouts as the only means the city has to move forward. Total $18 billion unfunded liabilities in Detroit, an estimated $3.5 billion of that in their pension plan alone. Now, in Oklahoma, we have kind of an interesting situation because although we're politically more conservative, the protection for pension holders in some ways is legally sounder, better. There was a lot of controversy when we did some modest reforms years ago that have actually, put Oklahoma kind of on the map, and that was getting rid of the automatic COLA, saying we're going to take care of what's there, but there's not going to be an assumption of a COLA, cost of living adjustment, every year. So bottom line, there's legal protections for pension holders that are not mirrored in places like Wisconsin and Michigan. But there was political will to take reform steps, and there's discussion of further reform steps. Gary Jones made the case that this case certainly should strongly encourage public officials all over the country to look seriously at taking the steps necessary to fulfill obligations to existing retirees and serve the taxpayer as well. Mark Costello, the labor commissioner, Gary Jones, of course, the auditor, and Gary actually serves on the state pension oversight board, so he's a guy with a vote on these kinds of things. Mark Costello, the labor commissioner, noted that unfortunately the existing bankruptcy laws protect not only people that get in temporary financial trouble and need help to get to the future, but they also protect, in some cases, bad actors. Right. And the city of Detroit has been a bad actor. Looking ahead, he said that Puerto Rico is going to be the next big shoe to drop because they have a population comparable to ours, and yet they have a $100 billion unfunded liability gap, some of it pensions, but a lot of other things, some of it, in fact, what you might call corporate welfare. And that shoe's going to drop. So this is a big story. It has implications for Oklahoma, but Oklahoma, just like in other economic news, is simply better off.
A local doctor, Keith Smith, has gained some national attention recently. He appeared on Bill O'Reilly's show on Fox News. And why don't you tell us a little bit about Dr. Smith?
I'm going to summarize quickly so we can get to one last topic, and that Dr. Smith has become a nationally known exponent of free market, even for health care. And he was ahead of the curve on, Affordable Care Act. He's not for that, but he's eschewed the use at the Surgery Center of Oklahoma. They've avoided being involved with Medicare and Medicaid for about a decade and a half now. They even have a cautious approach to work with insurance companies. Individual patients can file, but the Surgery Center charges what it charges, which is typically 1/6 or even 1/10 of the cost at big hospitals. He's getting national attention for this. This week, as you mentioned, he was on O'Reilly's show, and he's becoming a player as a spokesman for a point of view that I think is very important.
All right, this last topic. You mentioned Labor Commissioner Mark Costello. You interviewed him recently. How do you assess his first 3 years in office?
I just encourage everybody to look at the website for the story I'll have up. Volunteer buyouts in the Tulsa office, reduction in the actual payout, the actual number of employees. He's working closely with the career tech system to not privatize, but provide some of the Labor Department services in that setting. I could go on. Workers' comp reform, he was a huge advocate. He's a guy that believes right sizing of government is actually achievable. Not easy, but achievable. And I think he's doing what he promised to do when he was elected.
All right, well, you can read more about these and other topics at capitalbeatok.com. For Pat McGuigan, I'm Alex Cameron. Stay warm.